In the suffocating silence of a narrow canyon, sheer walls of fiery sandstone rise hundreds of feet on either side, blocking out the sky until only a razor-thin ribbon of blue remains far above. Footsteps crunch on ancient gravel, echoing like whispers from another age. The air hangs heavy with dust and forgotten time. Then, without warning, the passage widens, and the world explodes into impossible splendor. There, blazing under the relentless desert sun, stands a towering facade carved straight from the heart of the mountain itself. Columns soaring 40 meters high, intricate friezes of gods and mythical beasts, an urn crowning the top as if defying gravity. A structure so delicate, so grand, it seems born from a dream rather than human hands. This is Al-Khazneh, the treasury of Petra, gateway to a lost civilization that thrived for centuries only to vanish from the maps of the world. How did such a place come to exist in the harshest desert on Earth? And why did it disappear for 1,000 years? Centuries before the birth of Christ, across the sun-scorched expanses of the Arabian deserts, a resilient people wandered without fixed borders or grand palaces. The Nabataeans were nomads by blood and necessity, moving with the seasons and the faint promise of water. They navigated a land that punished the unprepared with blistering heat by day and freezing nights, where sandstorms could erase entire caravans and mirages lured the desperate to their deaths. Most civilizations hugged the life-giving rivers of the Fertile Crescent or the safety of coastal ports. The Nabataeans chose the opposite. They embraced the void. Their survival was a masterclass in adaptation. They memorized the subtle signs of hidden oases, a slight darkening of rock, the flight patterns of birds, the taste of the wind. They crafted portable shelters from goat hair and knowledge passed through generations. Danger was constant. Rival tribes, scarce resources, the ever-present threat of dehydration. Yet these hardships forged them into masters of their environment. They became living maps of the desert, guides whose expertise no outsider could match. This intimate understanding of a merciless landscape would soon become the foundation of unimaginable wealth and innovation. By the 4th century BC, a profound transformation stirred within this wandering society. The endless movement that defined their ancestors began to feel insufficient. Ambition took root. They sought permanence, a sanctuary where their skills could flourish into something greater. Their eyes fell upon a remote, almost mythical basin nestled deep within the rugged mountains of southern Jordan. Protected by towering cliffs and accessible only through a single, treacherous fissure known as the Sick, a winding, narrow chasm over a kilometer long, its walls polished smooth by millennia of rare floods. This hidden valley offered the perfect fortress. Invaders would struggle to find the entrance, let alone breach it. Here, in isolation and safety, the Nabataeans would stake their claim on eternity. The challenge they set for themselves was audacious. In an era when most cities rose from stacked stones and imported timber, the Nabataeans turned their tools inward. With iron chisels, hammers, and ropes, they attacked the living rock itself. Starting from the upper cliffs and working downward in a breathtaking display of engineering foresight, they excavated entire structures directly from the sandstone. Doorways emerged from solid walls. Grand halls and staircases spiraled into the mountain's depths. Tombs for kings and commoners alike took shape, their facades adorned with eagles, lions, and floral motifs that captured the artistic influences of distant cultures. The mountain was no longer mere backdrop. It became the city, seamless, impregnable, eternal. Suspense built as the first outlines of this vision appeared. Would their tools hold against the unforgiving stone? Could a nomadic people master the precision required for such monumental work? Every strike of the chisel carried the weight of their future. Setbacks were inevitable. Rock fractures, tool failures, the physical toll on workers laboring under scorching conditions. Yet each completed facade fueled their determination. The city began to breathe. As the settlement took form, the Nabataeans' true genius revealed itself not just in stone, but in survival and strategy. They positioned their new home at the vital crossroads of ancient trade routes connecting Arabia, Egypt, the Mediterranean, and the distant East. Caravans laden with the most precious commodities of the age, fragrant frankincense and myrrh resins harvested from sparse desert trees, exotic spices from India, luxurious silks from China, passed through their domain. These goods fueled religious rituals, royal luxuries, and medical remedies across empires. Control over the water sources and hidden passes gave the Nabataeans leverage no army could easily overcome. They offered protection, fresh water from their secret springs, and secure resting places. In return, they collected tolls and positioned themselves as indispensable middlemen. Wealth accumulated rapidly. Markets sprang up in the valley, buzzing with the voices of merchants from a dozen lands haggling over prices. Artisans honed their crafts, producing intricate pottery painted with vibrant designs, delicate jewelry, and fine textiles. A massive theater was hewn from the rock, its seats accommodating over 4,000 spectators for plays, ceremonies, and public gatherings. Homes, gardens, and public plazas transformed the once empty basin into a thriving metropolis supporting up to 30,000 souls. Yet their most remarkable achievement lay beneath the surface, quite literally. In a place where rainfall was rare and unpredictable, flash floods could arrive with devastating fury, tearing through canyons and walls of water. The Nabataeans refused to be victims. They constructed an advanced hydraulic network of channels, dams, cisterns, and underground conduits carved with astonishing accuracy. Water was captured high in the mountains, diverted safely around the city, stored in vast rock-cut reservoirs, and distributed through clay pipes to fountains, baths, and irrigated terraces where date palms and flowers bloomed defiantly. This system sustained life on a scale that seemed miraculous. It spoke of a people not merely surviving, but mastering their world through intellect and ingenuity. Their city pulsed with confidence, a beacon of human resilience amid desolation. But prosperity always invites challenge. As the Nabataean kingdom reached its zenith, larger forces loomed on the horizon. The rise of the Roman Empire cast a long shadow across the region. Trade routes that once funneled unimaginable riches through Petra now faced competition from emerging sea lanes. Ships hugging the coasts offered speed and lower risk for transporting spices and silks. The desert caravans, once the lifeblood of Petra, began to thin. Tensions simmered with neighboring powers, and internal decisions about alliances weighed heavily on leaders who balanced tradition with the need to adapt. The emotional stakes deepened with every passing decade. Families who had poured generations of labor into carving their homes watched as the flow of gold and goods slowed to a trickle. Rivalries with other trading groups intensified. The desert, once their ally, now tested their resolve as resources grew scarcer. Leaders faced impossible choices: maintain isolation and risk stagnation, or open further to outside influences and risk losing their unique identity. Suspense hung in the air like the dust before a storm. What sacrifices would be required to preserve their legacy? The breaking point arrived with cataclysmic force. In 106 AD, the Roman Empire formally annexed the Nabataean realm, incorporating it as the province of Arabia. Petra, though the transition was largely peaceful, it marked the end of independent rule. Roman architects added their own flourishes, a grand colonnaded street slicing through the city center, new administrative buildings, and baths in the imperial style. For a time, Petra adapted, its carved facades now hosting Roman officials and soldiers. Life continued, but the soul of the city felt the shift. The old ways of nomadic freedom and desert mastery began to erode under the weight of imperial bureaucracy. Then nature unleashed its fury. A massive earthquake in 363 AD ripped through the region, toppling columns, cracking cisterns, and devastating the intricate water channels that had been the city's heartbeat. Panic spread as fountains ran dry and gardens withered. Survivors worked feverishly to repair the damage, shoring up walls and clearing debris, their hands bloodied and spirits tested to the limit. For a while, hope flickered. But in 551 AD, another devastating quake struck, compounding the ruin. Vital dams collapsed. Homes became uninhabitable. Without water in the merciless desert, existence turned from difficult to impossible. Families made the heartbreaking decision to leave. One by one, they packed their belongings and walked away from the only home many had ever known. The once vibrant markets fell silent. Sand drifted over mosaic floors. Weeds pushed through cracks in the theater seats. The sick, long a corridor of commerce and life, became a passage of ghosts. For nearly 1,000 years, Petra faded into legend. Only the local Bedouin tribes, descendants of the desert's eternal guardians, kept its secrets. They sheltered in the tombs, watered their animals at ancient springs, and wove stories of the rose-red city into their oral traditions, shielding it from prying outsiders. The rediscovery came through quiet determination and clever disguise. In 1812, a young Swiss explorer named Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, driven by insatiable curiosity and a deep love for the region's history, embarked on a perilous journey. Fluent in Arabic and immersed in local customs after years of study, he adopted the guise of a Muslim pilgrim seeking the tomb of the prophet Aaron, said to lie near the fabled ruins. His Bedouin guide led him through the twisting sick, the walls pressing in like the pages of a forgotten book. As the canyon suddenly opened, Burckhardt beheld the treasury in all its glory, untouched, radiant, a vision from antiquity. His pulse quickened with awe and urgency. He could not reveal his true intentions without risking his safety, so he memorized every detail: the play of light on carved stone, the scale of the theater, the haunting presence of tombs stretching into the cliffs. Returning to the wider world, his detailed accounts ignited a firestorm of fascination. European artists, scholars, and adventurers flocked to the site, capturing its majesty in paintings and writings. The poet John William Burgon immortalized it as a rose-red city half as old as time. Petra emerged from obscurity, its wonders dazzling a modern audience hungry for the mysteries of the past. The climax of Petra's story is not a single battle or conquest, but the quiet triumph of human creativity over oblivion. What the Nabataeans built in isolation and what Burckhardt unveiled to humanity represents the enduring power of vision against all odds. Their carved city, engineered oasis, and strategic empire of trade secured their place among history's most ingenious civilizations. Today, Petra endures as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. Millions traverse the sick each year, standing where ancient caravans once passed, gazing upon facades that have withstood empires, earthquakes, and centuries of neglect. Its legacy reminds us that true greatness often emerges not from comfort, but from confronting the harshest realities with creativity and perseverance. The Nabataeans did not merely survive the desert, they reshaped it into something eternal. In an age where challenges can feel insurmountable, their story asks us to look at our own obstacles differently. What hidden valleys and solid rocks in our lives are waiting to be transformed? How might patient, determined effort turn the seemingly impossible into a lasting monument? History judged the Nabataeans not by their disappearance, but by the wonders they left behind. What will future generations say about the legacies we carve today? Share your thoughts in the comments. What part of Petra's epic journey resonates most with you? The rose-red city still stands, patient and inspiring, ready for the next chapter written by those bold enough to dream.